Hi, my name is Gavin Whitelaw, and I'm a sociocultural anthropologist with abiding interests in commerce and food culture. And a lot of my research focuses on convenience stores and the spread of the convenience store. Today, I think my talk will complement the two other talks that we've heard by looking at a corollary, I think, to the idea of global forms and their localization, and that is the globalization of local forms and practices. And my point of interest is an oversized sushi roll called Ehomaki. Ehomaki is eaten on Setsubun, the point in the calendar, in the old Japanese lunar calendar, the last day of winter. And it is eaten in an auspicious direction. And there are all kinds of rules that govern how this food should be consumed. It should be consumed all in one go while standing up. You should not be talking while you eat it. And of course, you have to be facing in the auspicious direction for the coming year. And that's why before the smartphone, these sushi rolls contained a little plastic compass. In 2019, there are over 150 varieties of ehomaki on the Japanese market. 32 million people, approximately a third of the Japanese population, consumed an ehomaki, and it was a 25 billion yen business for supermarkets and convenience stores. My close encounter with the ehomaki occurred while I was clerking and conducting a dissertation research in a Tokyo convenience store, and I ordered one and brought it back and consumed it with my neighbors. And it was quite a chore. In fact, I almost didn't finish it. That same day, the practice of mamemaki, which is the throwing of beans, occurred on the local shopping street around me. And ehomaki was a totally new experience for me. And something that my neighbors actually had not really participated in, at least in my conversations. Prior to Setsubun, the owner of the convenience store had asked me to create a little advertisement for the inside of the store. And I, not knowing what I was doing, I asked him about ehomaki and this ritual. And he said he had no idea where it came from or when it started. Just a couple of years ago, he was being asked to sell these in his store. And that was the beginning of my own exploration of ehomaki. It's a rather it was a rather interesting journey for me as I looked into it. The actual history of ehomaki and its consumption is rather murky. The written record shows that it probably began in the Taisho era in the early 1900s as a bawdy game between geisha and patron in Osaka's pleasure district, so a very specific location. It was subsequently picked up and promoted by seaweed distributors in Osaka as a way to drive sales during the slow season, during February, after the new year. And then it was revived yet again in the post-war period by seaweed sellers and distributors, this time on Setsubun, but it was turned into a competition in which people would sort of compete to down these huge sushi rolls. And here's the 2019 competition, and the winner was a young student from Osaka University who downed her roll in 10 minutes. But the actual origins of this go back to 1989, its beginnings as a consumer product, when a former resident of Osaka who owned a 7-Eleven in Hiroshima, and here is a picture of Hiroshima and all the 7-Elevens that dot the landscape there, he told a service representative about this local practice, ehomaki, being eaten in Setsubun. 7-Eleven thought it was a good idea and began to pilot a new product, ehomaki, first in Hiroshima and then gradually expanded that until in 1998, it made it a national product. Lawson, Japan's second largest convenience store, picked up on this in 2001. And rather than having an eating competition, they turned the competition inwards and actually had stores compete against each other to sell ehomaki. In 2005, 1.5 million Ehomaki were sold by Lawson. This is the #1 seller of Ehomaki in all of Japan, Mr. Tauchi, from Tottori Prefecture, who sold this past year over 3,000 Ehomaki through his store, and dresses up as an ogre when the season comes round. But this internal competition, combined with the increase in franchisee owners who have very little experience in the food business and in commerce, has led to the overstocking of Ehomaki during Setsubun and the waste of food. This waste has not gone unnoticed by the local Konbini denizens and consumers who tweet when they look at shelves on February 3rd and see that they're still filled with product that won't get sold. This has become such an issue that the Ministry of Agriculture, as well as local businesses, including, for example, this supermarket, have announced that they will now cut back on producing Ehomaki, that they're not interested in selling all that they can sell, but only sell what people want. It is therefore interesting how the local has come back into and is offering a kind of check to the global expansion of Ehomaki. And I end on this slide of Fukuoka doing a community activity around rolling the largest Ehomaki in their town. This is not something that's probably being done this year, but it's a delicious option. Thank you.